Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to completely pull back the curtain on the traditional banking system today, and we're going to reveal the true investor's path to wealth. Look, if you've ever felt like you're doing absolutely all the right things with your money, but somehow you're still not getting ahead, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down some seriously fascinating financial realities, mapping out exactly how the system works behind closed doors. All right, let's just jump right in with a pretty crazy question to start us off. What if I told you that every single day, millions of people unknowingly make banks richer and richer, and they do this without ever investing a single dollar in bank stocks or Wall Street? I know, it sounds totally wild, right? But it's happening right now, this very second, in almost every single household. And the truly shocking part here is that you might be making the banks rich by doing exactly what you've always been told are smart financial behaviors. I mean, think about it. You save your money. You keep cash safely tucked away in the bank. You diligently pay your credit card bills on time every month. You might even take out a standard loan when you need to buy a car or a house. You think you're making these brilliant financial moves, but the truth is, you are the absolute perfect customer for the bank. Because behind the scenes, banks are using this exact money, literally your money, to build staggering wealth for themselves. And no, this isn't some crazy conspiracy theory, it's just the basic everyday mechanics of the banking system. Now, hold on a second. Before we go any further, I definitely want to clarify something super important. Banks are not evil. They simply run a business, and they provide incredibly important services to our economy. They keep our money safe from theft, they process our daily payments, they offer necessary loans, and they help small businesses actually get off the ground and grow. Without banks, our modern economy would genuinely struggle to function at all. So the crucial takeaway here is that the real problem isn't that banks exist. The problem is that our schools rarely teach us how banks actually make their money. Parents often don't know it, so they obviously can't pass it down. And because of that massive knowledge gap, millions of people spend their entire lives playing the completely wrong financial game. So let's look at exactly how this works in the real world. Imagine you deposit $10,000 into your favorite savings account. You feel great about it. Your money is safe, secure, and backed up by the institution. Maybe if you have a decent account, you're earning a tiny 1% interest on that money. You pat yourself on the back for being responsible. Hey, free money, right? Sure, that might buy you a cup of coffee at the end of the year. But what happens next? Does the bank just put your $10,000 in a vault with a little sticky note with your name on it and let it gather dust? Absolutely not. No way. The contrast here is just stark. The bank does not leave your money sitting there. Instead, it takes your $10,000 and immediately lends it out to someone else. Maybe it becomes part of a family's mortgage. Maybe it's a small business loan, or maybe a car loan. Now, imagine the bank charges that person 7% on a car loan, or even a whopping 18% interest on a credit card. You're earning pennies on that tiny 1%, while the bank is earning massively more using your specific cash. That massive gap in the middle, that's called the interest spread. And this spread is literally one of the biggest ways banks make billions of dollars in profit every single year. Which brings us to a massive light bulb moment, a true foundational truth. Your money doesn't stop working. It just works harder for the bank than it does for you. Once you truly grasp this lesson, I promise you, it completely shifts your perspective on what is actually happening to that pile of cash sitting comfortably in your savings account. You aren't just saving, you are literally providing the inventory for the bank's highly profitable business. Okay, let's see how this builds into something even more dangerous for your wealth. We absolutely have to talk about inflation, the hidden money killer. It's a silent force, like a sneaky thief where prices increase over time, quietly shrinking your purchasing power. Let's say inflation is running at 5%, but your savings account is only paying you that tiny 1 or 2%. At first glance, your account balance is technically going up, so you think your money is growing. But in reality, you are losing purchasing power every single day. To put this into perspective, think about a standard trip to the grocery store. Today, let's say a cart of groceries costs you exactly $100. A few years later, because of inflation, those exact same groceries cost $110, or maybe even more. So while the money you saved technically increased by that tiny bit of interest, the cost of just surviving increased a whole lot faster. That means your true wealth, what you can actually buy with your money, actually shrank. You literally became poorer while saving. And look, this is exactly why simply saving money forever just isn't enough. Saving protects your money, sure, but investing is what actually helps grow it. Now, both of these are absolutely critical tools in your financial toolkit, but confusing one for the other, thinking that saving is growing, can cost you years, if not decades, of financial progress. So that naturally begs a very logical question, right? Why do wealthy people rarely keep huge amounts of cash sitting in the bank? Seriously, if you ever look at the balance sheets of the ultra-rich, they don't just have billions sitting idle in checking accounts. Why is that? How do they avoid this trap of inflation that catches almost everyone else? Well, it boils down to one simple principle: the rule of the wealthy. Money should have a job. Instead of leaving everything in cash where it's slowly eaten away by inflation and used by the bank for their own profits, wealthy individuals give their money a strict assignment. They put it to work by purchasing productive assets. Okay, so what exactly is a productive asset? We're talking about things like index funds, buying or starting businesses, investing in real estate, or acquiring dividend-paying investments. Now, let's be completely clear here. These investments do carry risk, which is exactly why you always need to build a solid emergency cash fund first. But over long periods of time, historically, diversified investments like the broad stock market have yielded 7 to 10% on average. That vastly outpaces the bank's tiny payout, and it thoroughly beats inflation. The wealthy aren't necessarily smarter than you. They just fundamentally understand the critical difference between saving and investing. Let's look at a real-world example of this time multiplier in action. Imagine two friends. Ali saves $500 every single month. Good for him, right? He's building a solid safety net. But his friend Ahmed, he invests $500 every month into a diversified investment that earns an average long-term return. If we look down the line, fast forward 10, 20, and 30 years later, the difference in their net worth becomes absolutely enormous. Ali has a nice, safe chunk of change, sure, but Ahmed has built serious, completely life-changing wealth. So what's Ahmed's secret? Why does he win so significantly? It's all because of compound growth. This is the magic that happens when your money earns returns, and then those returns go on to earn more returns. It's like rolling a giant snowball down a long hill. At first, it's just a little handful of snow, but as it rolls, it gathers more snow, getting heavier and faster, until it's just this unstoppable force. Over time, seemingly small amounts of consistent investments become surprisingly, astronomically large. And this is exactly why I absolutely love this concept. Time is often more valuable than trying to find the perfect investment. A lot of people find investing super intimidating. It can feel scary to put your hard-earned money into the market, and so they end up waiting on the sidelines for the absolute perfect time to buy the perfect stock. But the truth? Time is the ultimate equalizer. The earlier you start applying this principle of compound growth, the harder your money works for you. Time does the heavy lifting, taking the pressure completely off of you. All right, bringing this all together, we arrive at what I call the ultimate mindset shift. Listen, banks are not hiding some magic secret in a vault somewhere. They're simply running a business based on math. Most of us were only ever taught how to earn money through our day-to-day labor. Very few of us were ever taught how money itself earns money. But now, you know the mechanics. You see the whole board clearly. So once you understand this, your inner dialogue literally has to change. You have to stop asking, where should I save my money? And you must start asking, how can my money work for me? That single, incredibly powerful shift in your thinking can completely alter the trajectory of your financial future forever. It transforms you from a supplier of the bank's wealth into a builder of your own. So let's turn this into an actual, actionable game plan. Step 1, keep enough cash for emergencies. Always protect yourself first. Step 2, avoid unnecessary high-interest debt. Seriously, do not pay that 18% spread to the banks. Step 3, invest consistently, but do it according to your own goals and your personal risk tolerance. And step 4, step back and let time do its thing. Let it work in your favor. These are the core rules that empower you to act like an investor, rather than just a saver. At the end of the day, banks make a fortune simply because they know how money works. But the beauty is, you can learn and apply those exact same principles. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. How can my money work for me today? Take a hard look at your accounts, look at your daily habits, and ask yourself that question. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it helps you see your finances in a totally new light.